Welcome to another episode of the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, and also best-selling author. And every single day, I help others unlock the potentials and guide them to succeed. Today on the show, we have an amazing guest, not just one, but two amazing guests. I had the privilege of seeing them on stage, speaking about what they do best. And once I heard them speak, I'm like, you know what? I got to get them on my show because they do a lot of great things, especially in the world of real estate. They have an amazing story going from 9-to-5 job to being real estate investors. And in a very short time, did over 100 deals, and that is absolutely phenomenal because that's a dream for a lot of people to get out of that 9-to-5 job and invest in real estate. Not just one deal or two deals, but they've done over 100 deals, which is absolutely amazing. And now they're helping other people with coaching and speaking, helping them reach their real estate goals as well. So please welcome managing partners, real estate investors, and entrepreneurs, Jane IRWIN and Sharon McKENZIE.
Hey, Fong, thanks for having us here. We really appreciate it. Great to be here.
Hey,
Thanks
thank you
for
for being here. And I can't wait to hear your story and can't wait to hear some of your expertise because the two of you have done some amazing things in a very, very short period of time. So let's just start there. How did you go from being employees to doing real estate investing to now coaching and speaking on stages?
I think initially we're retired law enforcement. So we actually retired from our job, and then we kind of stumbled into real estate. We wanted to buy a condo in Florida just to go back and forth. We wanted some approval from other people to use our 401k, and because our custodian had told us we could use it. We went to a real estate meeting, and they told us we couldn't use it without a huge tax implication. And then, basically from there, the bug bit, and we got some coaching and some mentoring, and we were off to the races.
So both of you were in law enforcement?
Yes, sir.
We were both in Baltimore County in Maryland. We were law enforcement there, and had the opportunity to retire early and had somewhat of a pension to fall back on, but we wanted to get involved in something else. And we didn't know anything about real estate before we started. Mm-hmm. The houses we've bought in the past were with families, but that was it. And
here we are.
Now, most people go, man, I just reached retirement. And in fact, I got early retirement. I'm just going to relax and live my life. The two of you decided to go, you know what? We're going to do more. We're going to jump into real estate, which is something that's not easy to jump into. And lots of people go through a lot of research, a lot of training, a lot of stuff before they even contemplate in jumping into real estate. But two of you went right into it. So what was that one little tweak in your mind that goes, you know what, this is the right path to go to? Retirement is not completely for us. We're going to jump into investing.
I think it was a little bit at a time. I can't say one thing, but we were just so excited. We did buy that condo in a different way, and we got owner finance at 0%, which was just like we stumbled onto that, which a lot of people tried to get that. That's had years of training, and then just from there, I think just going to meetings. We did go do a lot of training, a lot of meetings, but we always took action instead of just we see the same people at meetings that they never do anything, and I think we've gotten a lot busier than what we thought we would be, but it's been a great journey, and we've met a lot of great people, and giving back to the community with the program that we do. So,
mm-hmm. And sharing yourself, was there a turning point in your mindset that went, you know what, this is the way to go?
Actually, I think it's when we started going to the classes, and we partnered up with another individual on our RIA group who taught us wholesaling, and we figured that was the best path to take initially, because you learn a lot about real estate and get your numbers together and get everything flowing before you go to the next step. Mm-hmm. And then we've gotten mentored by different people through the years, and who's kind of led us to the next level, like flipping and then holding and rentals and then creative financing. So mm-hmm. I think, like Jane said, it was a progression, and then seeing that at first it's that shiny new object, reaching and jumping for the shiny new object, and then realizing you have to really crack down and learn as you go, and to do it the right way and do your due diligence and know your numbers and mm-hmm. just understand things. We looked at the very beginning, we went boots on the ground. We looked at a lot of houses, We talked to a lot of contractors. Since we knew nothing about houses, we wanted to know what it looked like, what how contractors do their work, how, the steps to take when you look at work that's completed, whether it looks done or not, whether the contractor's done it the right way. The paperwork, we want to make sure everything was in order. And that's why I'm glad we did start with wholesaling, because that gave us the opportunity to learn, get all the contracts together and everything in order so that we could take the next step into actually investing.
Now, I've gone through my share of investment courses and seminars and webinars and boot camps and whatnot. And I hear a lot of people within those courses say, oh, okay, let's partner up. Oh, hey, let's partner up. In fact, here's my new partner. And then they do things together. But those partnerships rarely stay together. They eventually venture off, or they'll find partners later on. Now, it sounds like the two of you have found each other in this area to work together right away. Was that something that became because of the law enforcement background that you were great friends to begin with, and you want to do this journey together, or was there some kind of thought process behind that afterwards when you start looking into real estate?
No, I think we just we naturally have different things that we're good at and that we like to do. It's being in law enforcement, there's certain things that we bring to the table that was really easy for us, and I think it just worked naturally that we would partner together.
Is there something that one does better than the other, and somebody's weakness is somebody else's strength when you?
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's with a partnership. That's number one, what you need. I can't stand reading contracts. This is one example. I can read them for 5 seconds and then I skim. So a contract is something you have to read word by word, sentence for sentence. Sharon's capable of that. With sitting there and making sure there's no mistakes, and she writes up a lot of the contracts that we do, and that's our positive.
So take us through that very first deal. What was it like? How did you feel? How did you feel when you actually got accepted and you made money off of it? What was those trials and tribulations throughout that first deal?
I think the first deal that we did as a real estate investor, the first one was personally, so I don't count that one. The first one we did as an investor was a wholesale, and it was we got it really cheap. We taught ourselves the HUD home store with some help of some coaching, and that was our first deal. We didn't get it accepted a couple times, and then there was some problems with the closing, but the night before, the guy wanted a discount, and I was just ready to say, no, you can't have it. We're gonna not sell it to you. But at the end of the day, he made money, we made money, and it was great. And after you get that first deal, I mean, it took a while. It took 4 or 5 months to get that, and then after you get that first one, everything else seems easier. Things become easier. It works, so you go out and are able to put more offers in.
Now, the two of you aren't doing wholesaling. That's not your focus. So what types of projects are you working on now? What are you looking for? You're looking to partner up. If other people have deals and stuff like that, do they come to you?
Yes, we do JV partnerships with people, and split profits, or work on our own. We do the whole gamut. And we love creative financing. We like the fun stuff, looking at a deal, trying to structure it differently, do the creative financing, which works really well for us in every market. And people got nervous about the down market, and we flourish more when the market's coming down the way it is now. Everybody was running around buying too high, buying over ARV for houses that needed to be fixed up, and we didn't get stuck. We didn't get caught up in all that. We are very conservative with our prices. We have our price points. We acquire properties. One of our favorite ways, as Jane said, is acquiring properties is getting bank-owned properties, and you can negotiate through the bank, or with the HUD home store, you can kind of structure and figure out how the algorithms are flowing to get the properties that you want. So right now we do work a lot with lease option and owner financing to homeowners who cannot get a traditional mortgage, traditional loan. So we like helping people and getting them into houses where they wouldn't be able to be homeowners any other way.
You mentioned a few times the creative financing, how you you find those very interesting when you're putting those together. Could you share with us one of the most interesting or most fun creative financing deals that you put together?
I think just recently, and like we're recent as a week, we had a lady in Fort Myers who that area that couldn't afford her mortgage and rent. She had some damage from the hurricane. So basically, we just put that together where we could take over her payments as subject to her payments. She wants to keep the loan in her name for a little bit, capital gain. She just bought the house. So we essentially got her out of a very bad situation. We're going to take over the house and the payments, and as luck would have it, we're going to bring our contractor down because he's looking to get out of Maryland and better life for him and his son. So we're bringing him down, and we're just going to put him right in that house. He can fix it up, live there. So that's a creative way that we've helped her, helped him, and now our very good contractor will be down here with us in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And more to that story also, we could also to rehab in the house. It does need some rehab, as Jane was saying, because of the hurricane. Then we get private money in with some of our employees that we worked at law enforcement for their self-directed IRA to help them build up their retirement. Mm-hmm. So we kind of try to help everybody on each end of the deal, see what we can do to build everybody up.
Nice. So you brought some friends along.
Yeah. Always want to bring your friends and family, right?
Right. That's absolutely amazing. Because lots of people who get out of their 9-to-5 jobs, they're like, you know what? I don't want to have anything to do with those people anymore. But the two of you have found a way to benefit your friends and your colleagues, and then also pursue your own dreams and goals as well, which is absolutely great. Now, when it comes to screening tenants, that's something that lots of people are worrisome about. They don't want to have to wake up in the middle of the night fixing anything or getting a phone call. I'm assuming the two of you, being in law enforcement before, have this knack to really screen the right tenants, get that gut feel as to which ones are good, which ones are lying, which ones are reliable. Yes, they may have some difficulty in the past, but we can trust this one. What is that special skill set? How do you do that? What do you look for?
I think it is just a gut feel, and obviously, and we've had really good feel about some people, and they're disappointed, but sometimes life gets in the way. But everybody we've kind of come into contact, they've either walked away gracefully from the house, or at least they haven't made it hell for us to kind of take the house back. So we haven't really had to go through that, but I think it's just a gut feel. And then obviously some background information, which we're good obviously at the background stuff. So, and then we hand most things to our property manager. So we have great property managers. I think that can, there's two things in real estate that can make and break you. One is a property manager and one is your contractor. So if you kind of keep those good people around you, I think real estate tends to go well. And the better we've gotten at those two things, the better things have went.
Mm-hmm. Do you have your little tips and tricks for yourself?
Actually, we've created a form that we send to our potential homeowners or the renters, mm-hmm. that kind of asks certain questions to kind of see, what they think of different things, or kind of, have their thought process. And we've learned that we've kind of took it from another investor and kind of made it our own and used it. Like some of the questions, one of them is, when you're paying rent, what do you consider lateness in paying that rent? And if they say, 5 days after the due date, because they're used to that grace period, you don't want somebody, you want somebody to say the day it's due or the day after it's due, it's late. Another thing we ask them is if they have a lot of credit cards, and, if they have a lot of creddet card debt, to see if they can manage their finances. If they have vehicles in their name, so they have transportation, how old are the vehicles? If ask them if you need something repaired or your vehicle repaired, do you have a go-to person to help you? You have somebody in the family to help you out, just to see if they can think for themselves, negotiate, navigate, mm-hmm. through their financing.
Mm-hmm. And another just simple one that we use is, do you smoke and do you have pets? And most people think it's because you don't want them to smoke in the house. but a lot of that is, are you going to buy cigarettes or are you going to pay your rent? So, or if something happens to your pet, are you going to take it to the vet or are you going to pay the rent? So it's not necessarily what they think why we're asking, but typically people will do those two things before they pay the rent.
That's very interesting. That never came across in my mind. I'm like, they will probably save their pet first before they pay my rent.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a dog and, we're going to do anything we can to
Yeah,
save him or get him to the vet. So that's how
right.
most people think.
You mentioned it's very, very important to have a good contractor and a good property manager. There's so many out there. How do you pick the right one? Did you have the right one at the beginning, or did you go through a few before you kind of solidified on one?
We've went through a lot of contractors. Some of it is just luck, and you have to try them out a little bit, and then give them a little more leeway. Draws are very important. We never pay everybody up front. We've heard a lot of people that, hey, here's 25,000, go fix the house. So everything is draws because we do things virtually. We invest in other markets besides Florida. So we have a very good contractor in Gary, Indiana, but he sends pictures, videos, and we've learned from coaching and just hands-on that things not to do. But some contractors you just stumble on, but you just give them a little bit of rope, and then as they perform and things are good, but we've also found out that they're good till they're not, and that's one thing you just always have to stay on top of.
Mm-hmm.
And you always have to have backups. You're always looking for contractors, always have 2 or 3 of them behind the one that you're using, or if you get more busy, you can utilize both of them, or some contractors, and they hear a lot, they're good until they're not. They fall out, something happens, life happens, so you always want to have backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
You always want to be looking for them.
Mm-hmm. Now, looking back, what would you recommend other people when they say they want to jump into real estate? Would you recommend starting off with wholesaling, or would you recommend starting off with buy fix and flips, buy and holds? What's the strategy best for a newcomer?
I think no matter what your strategy, you need 2 things, and that's coaching and persistence, and to take action. I mean, the biggest thing we see is most people just sit on the sidelines because they're afraid to, just jump in. So, wholesaling is, that's good, but if there's not as much money, there's more taxable events and that kind of thing. So no matter what you do, I think you can do anything. We know people that have started with flips and they've been very successful. We've known people that have started with rentals, kind of stumbled in, and they're very successful. But coaching, take action, and just persistence, because it's tough. Like, you get beat up all the time when you're first starting, hearing all those no's, and everything that can go wrong does go wrong. So you just have to stay persistent and take action.
And network. You really have to go to meetings, network, get to know people, because the more you build relationships, the more opportunities open up for you. So coaching, like Jane said, persistence, and networking, go and that way you can do JVs, you do meet people, you more opportunities and more doors open up for you.
Something you mentioned was the fact of people being surrounded by other people who kind of bring them down. That mindset of being too scared of taking action, too scared of looking at properties or putting out offers. Do you have any suggestions to people as to, okay, how do you get over that hump of facing that fear of maybe just looking at 1 or 2 properties or putting out that first offer, getting over that mindset of, oh, this is scary?
I don't. That's tough for us because we've not had that mindset. We've always kind of just jumped in. But I think just find somebody that would do that with you, or JV with you, hold your hand, kind of thing, and then that gets and people have to see that it's working. There's a lot of people that kind of sat back and they were like, they're crazy, I don't know what they're doing, they're going to lose their money, all that stuff. So and then they're like, oh, well, they flipped the house, or oh, they did that. So sometimes people have to see it and then kind of bring them along. And we brought some people along, and obviously people brought us along. So we try to pay back, but just holding people's hand and get them to jump in.
Was there at any point in time where somebody told you that don't do that? It's not gonna work.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
careful. It's a scam.
Absolutely.
Probably the first 2 years. Yeah, like nobody around us thought this was a good idea. They didn't. They just said we'd lose our money. Everything's a scam. You can't do it.
Mhm.
All that stuff. So
Now, how did you just kind of ignored them all and kept on going your path, or was there any point where their talk started to creep in a little bit?
It's funny, we're both stubborn, and if you tell us we can't do something, it just gives us the incentive and the motivation to watch me.
Uh,
I'll prove you wrong. We know that this will work. This is, we've done our research. This is a good idea. Watch us, and we'll wait and see. And sometimes I think that the negativity actually motivated us more because of how stubborn we are.
mhm. No, so you have your team in place, you're looking for tenants. Sometimes these tenants may or may not work out, as you mentioned before. How do you deal with those conflicts? How do you deal with like difficult contractors? How do you deal with difficult tenants? Do you sit down with them one-on-one? How do you kind of navigate that through that?
I think we've not had a whole lot of that, but yeah, you have to sit down with them, and the more we're experienced in this, the less we let things go. If something's off, then a lot of stuff is going to be off. So initially, like the contractor stuff was, and because we didn't know as much about, the work and how much this would cost, we really had to educate ourselves on that for flips. But yeah, you just have to sit down and say this isn't working, and we're not, you're going. We're gonna have to hire somebody else because you're too slow. You haven't done what you said you were gonna do. You haven't um, fixed the house as to the level that we want it, etc. So to
Mhm.
just sit down and make that break, and sometimes it sucks, but it's business.
I have a funny story with our first condo. We Airbnb'd it and we had somebody manage it. Well, management went off in that building and somebody put a tenant in our unit, and we got a call from the HOA saying, you have pit bulls in your house, you have people coming and going. And we're like, there, no
It's
way.
vacant.
It's vacant. It's at that time it was supposed to be vacant because we were doing some things to fix it up a little more and reassess. So we drove over to Daytona Beach, and that was when new, not knowing, and squatters' rights. We hadn't, what the heck? The squatters have rights to stay in your house. So we banged on the door and banged on the door. The one lady opened the door, and Jane said, "You get the heck." Well, she didn't say heck, but that was close. Out of my house now. And I had the lockbox. So she grabbed her stuff, walked out the door. We piled up all our other stuff and put it out the door on the curb and changed the lock. So we just kind of forced them out, not realizing that you had to go through all kinds of legalities when somebody's just squatting in there. So
Wow. Yeah, that was surprising for me as well. When I was trying to get somebody out of one of my places, I couldn't believe that I couldn't just go in and swap out locks. I had to go through this whole process, get a bailiff. I'm like, man, they could do so much more damage during that period of time, and I can't do anything about it. So how do you deal with those decisions? Like sometimes you may have to jump in and do something and take it on your own hands and deal with it, but then there's all this formalities, these paperwork and other thing regulations that you have to go through. How do you manage the tenant at that time so that they don't make things worse?
Yeah, we just try to smooth them along, and obviously we always have that if it goes to eviction court, then you're going to have that on your record. You're going to have a hard time finding someplace else. Most our property managers deal with that most of the time, but we do have a couple that we have to like kind of spoon feed and just say, hey, let's just amicably go. And sometimes we'll give them a month, or we'll give them keys for cash, which goes against everything that I would want to be doing, because it seems like you don't pay your rent, you should just go and leave my house
Mhm.
as it was found. But you do have to try to nurse people along, and life does happen. We've had a couple people that just like had a really shitty year with family dying and
Yeah.
everything else. So you know, sometimes you have to throw the human feature in there and carry them best you can, and then help them find another place to live.
Well, now the two of you are now going into helping others, like coaching people. You're going on stages to speak. Was that something that was on the horizon at the beginning? Did you always think that, you know what, this will lead to stages, will lead to coaching and all that kind of stuff, or how did that come about?
It's funny, we're both kind of introverted with that sort of thing and like big crowds, and we kind of sit back first and feel people out and read people before we jump in. So that was completely out of our comfort zone. I even joke and say it's easier when I was being shot at than standing up on stage. But our first mentor had a small group of people, and a lot of them were beginners. And he said, since you've gotten really good at wholesaling, can you just stand up in front of the group and teach them a little bit, tell them about wholesaling? And it was funny because his son came to us and said, don't make it about you. Make it about you're conveying a message and you're teaching the other, the people in the audience. So take the focus off of you and your nerves, and just, say that you want to go up there and do a good job and teach them the right way. And that actually resonated with us and helped us get through it. And, that's what we usually do now, is if we do speak, it's on a topic like teaching beginners or people who want to start getting into real estate, the different avenues to go.
And again, a lot of that goes back to opportunities. And, if you're presented with the opportunity, it's not what we like to do is be on a stage of talking to 1,000 people, which was terrifying, but you know what I mean? But then that opportunity presented itself. So, sometimes you say yes and see what happens. And then we got to meet you, and here we are. And that was an honor. So.
Awesome. Well, it's great having you. So you would put speaking on stage more scary than one being shot at, two getting your first deal, jumping into real estate. That is it something that you think you'll be putting some more time and training into to do more speaking?
It's a possibility. I guess we wouldn't say no to it, especially if it, opens doors. And, we do have that, servant's heart where we want to help others. And if it really resonates with somebody, if what our message conveys will help the next person, then I guess it would be selfish to say no.
Now, as real estate investors, we all have very, very interesting stories about what we see, what we experience. For me, we walked to this house and there was this bowling ball stuck in the wall, and there was bowling ball size holes throughout the whole house. I'm like, I wonder what happened here. For the two of you, any interesting stories, most biggest lesson learned in real estate that you could share?
I guess the one story that was good for us, a coworker, his uncle passed away, and they didn't want to clean out the house. It was like he walked out to dinner and never came back, so his house was completely intact. And then his girlfriend soon after, same thing. So they had all this stuff in the house. So we ended up getting the house. We were going to flip it. We were cleaning out the house for them, and we found his uncle's remains, which was cremated. And I thought originally it was a pet, but it ended up that they were looking all over for the remains. They couldn't find them, and Jeff's uncle was very upset that that they couldn't find them. But so that kind of made us feel good. We found his uncle and returned him, and that was kind of a good story.
And I guess the takeaway from that is it was just kind of starting out on flipping houses. That was one of our, probably the first 5 or 6 flips we've done. And we thought, oh, well, we can go in there and clean it out and fix it up. Never again. We were like, well, we're glad we did find the remains, but I feel like that time would have been better suited to have somebody else do it. We've learned through the years, we tried to do so much on our own. And then, as JT and people have told us, that don't do minimum wage activities.
Right.
That way you can make a bigger impact. You can make more money and scale up faster.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one takeaway from that, and we've done that for a couple other houses, trying to do
Well,
minor rehabs on our own and things like that, and then quickly realized that that's a time waster.
Now, I kind of missed asking this a little bit earlier, but when people come to you and they go, "Hey, we want your help. If you could guide us along to our first, second, third deal, whatever," what's the process that the two of you go through with them? What kind of questions do you ask them? What kind of information do you need to know about those people before you go, "Okay, here are a few steps, or here's the path forward as to how you should get into your first real estate"?
I think it's just a gut feeling with their persistence level, or if they're afraid and of doing anything, and then what they're willing to, if they're going to say, well, I can only meet at 9 o'clock, and I got to watch TV, or I got to whatever it is, they have to show some persistence, and they can't just oh, it's a fun time, or it's spare time, or whatever. They have to be able to put the work in.
And yourself, anything that you usually look for?
That's true what she said, and just see what they have done in the past, what their level is of understanding and knowing about real estate, to see how we can better help them. If they are a good fit and they really want to do this, then find out what they know, and and encourage them to maybe get some more training, or go to real estate meetings in their area and meetups, because there's so many in so many different areas. Just and I'm glad we did wholesaling first, because that did really open up a lot, teach us a lot before we jumped into bigger projects. And start small. Definitely start small. If you want to do a flip, do a cosmetic flip first. Don't start out with something huge and do a lower end house. Don't jump into a huge mansion that needs a lot of work. Start small and build your way up.
Now, going back to when you made the decision to go into real estate, is there something that's happened during this period of time that you go, "Wow, I never thought this would ever happen, and if it wasn't for making that decision about doing real estate, I would never experience this"?
That's pretty simple. We met Tom Brady. I mean, it's been a progression, and it's kind of weird. We met Tom Brady in April, but this year has just flown by, and it's just one thing after other, because it always opens doors when you say yes. So we said yes to real estate, and then we just continue to say yes when opportunities present, and the more you say yes, the more doors are going to open. So yeah, definitely
Cool.
Tom Brady.
How was that experience like?
Oh my God, it was
Gronk,
yeah, and Gronk, and Edelman. I
Juliana.
mean, they're like my three favorite, forever. And yeah, it was a great experience, and never in a million years would I have thought we would be doing that, and catching a ball from those guys was yeah, amazing.
Cool, very cool. Now this question for both of you. If it comes to a legacy message, one message that you could share to the whole world, for them to remember Jane for, remember Sharon for, what's that one message?
I guess give back. Work hard and build yourself up, and then give others a hand up, and bring others along the way, and take care of your families and friends, and treat others with respect. And also we're huge proponents to the environment. Take care of the environment, leave only footprints behind. Take care of the earth and the waterways. We're big into that as well. So.
And Jane, anything else to add to
I think just be persistent with anything you can do. Anybody can do anything. So we always try to. I mean, we knew nothing about real estate, and look what some of the things we've done. So anybody can do anything if they put their mind to it. So just be persistent, be happy. We joke around a lot and have a lot of fun on this journey, because if you're not happy and living the good life, right, it doesn't really matter much. But so those two things, and then just respect everybody. If there was more respect in the world, we probably wouldn't be in some of the situations that we're in.
Cool. Good messages to live by. Now that concludes our formal portion of our interview here. I got some rapid fire questions for each of you. Normally I have 5 for only one person, but you can't, if I ask Jane, then Sharon has some time to think about it. So it's going to be 5 different questions for both of you. So very first question for Jane. You're stranded on a deserted island, one food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence.
If ice cream counts, it would be that, but probably pizza. That would be more filling.
For Sharon, somebody very, very special shows up at your door and they're hungry. What's that special dish that you could prepare for them?
Everybody seems to like my homemade chicken and dumplings. So I would prepare homemade chicken and dumplings.
For Jane, what gold medal would you love to win would like to win in?
Basketball.
Basketball. Sharon, you're a member of the circus. What role would you like to play?
Something working with animals. I love animals.
So a lion tamer.
Well, yes.
Or the clown.
True. I would probably be more suited with the clown. I'm always cracking jokes, doing silly things.
Jane, you're on a road trip. This is hours and hours and hours, and there's one song that repeats over and over again. What's that one song that you don't mind listening to?
Hall of Fame by Script.
Cool, very nice.
Very motivational, so that's what I used to run to all the time too. So.
Sharon, Monopoly calls and says, "Hey, we want to do a game based on you. What is your boardwalk tile gonna look like?"
Shark. I love marine biology. I love the ocean, and my favorite animal is a shark.
Jane, special talent that not many people know about.
Well, I can't sing.
Sports.
Yeah, sports. Pretty athletic and played sports in college, and a lot of people don't know that now.
Okay, Sharon. Hollywood calls and says, "Hey, we want to do a biopic on you. Who would you cast to play? Hey, who would you cast to play Jane?"
She really likes Sandra Bullock. That she really looks up to her and likes her. So I think Sandra Bullock.
Great. And my last question is going to be the same for both of you. So that's, what is success like? But before we get there, Jane, give me a number from 1 to 5.
3.
1, 2, 3. So if you were to relate success to a bowling ball, how is success like a bowling ball?
That's with your holes in the wall there. I guess the bowling ball, as you throw it down the lane, it picks up speed, and then you're gonna knock out the pins to success. So.
Awesome. And for Sharon, 1 to 4.
2.
1, 2. So if you were to relate success to a blanket, how's success like a blanket?
Success is like a blanket because it is functional. It keeps you warm. It protects. And when you create success, you want to create protection and shelter. It could be shelter, and you can make it as large or as small as you would like. A blanket you can make as large, and your success you can make as large or small as you'd like.
Well done to the both of you. So that is how success is like a bowling ball and also a blanket. Any last words that you would like to share, or something else that you would like to let people know about?
We just wanted to thank you very much for having us on the show. We appreciate it. We know you do a lot of these with some very successful people, so we're honored.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. And
thank you very much. And if anybody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to connect?
Probably the best way is Facebook. I'm typically on there. We do have Instagram, and it's personal. We don't we have company stuff, but we're mostly on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Okay, great. So everybody, make sure you connect with Jane and Sharon here. Amazing real estate investors, lots of stuff that you can learn from them. So connect with them. Once again, she is Jane, Sharon. My name is Fong Chua. Until next time, today is the day to lock your peak potential. We'll see you later.